Every day I receive countless emails of people claiming they have a jinn or demonic possession attached to them. And unfortunately, we have watched a little bit too much movies. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that nobody has attachments, because that is definitely something that happens. But we need to go over the realistic things of what happens when you actually have an attachment. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from somebody who used to do it intentionally. My last ritual was September 6th of last year. And since finding the Quran, I don't touch these things. I never will again. There's no point. But when you get these attachments, when you have these spirits latched onto you, you start to notice certain different characteristics. So there's some things that I picked up along the way that helped me identify if it was really happening or not. But before I go into the signs of attachment, I want people to know that Muslims can't really be cursed if they're practicing correctly. This was something I spoke about a while ago, and I didn't know about the Russian witch that spoke on this. I had no idea that the Russian witch came on public television and told everybody that Muslims can't get cursed. And it was a beautiful thing because it validated the information that I already knew, things that I had already discovered. So it's beautiful when things like that happen, whenever you make a discovery and then you notice other people have been making the exact same discovery as yourself or acquiring the same information that you have. But I want everybody to keep in mind, the keywords are practicing correctly. If you are practicing correctly, you cannot be cursed. You cannot be affected by attachment. So please, please remember that. Your spiritual energy is similar like a cup. I know some of you guys have already heard this, but I'm going over it again. It's like a cup. And as you pray, as you do your 5 daily prayers, as you build your connection with God, and this connection gets stronger, the cup is going to get fuller. And eventually, as your connection gets so strong that the cup is completely full, your connection energy, however you want to word it, is full to the brim. There's no space for anything else. And what happens is whenever a jinn tries to fill this cup, there's no space. It just pours right off the top. But if you're not practicing correctly and you're not doing your daily prayers and your connection to God is very weak, there's going to be space in that cup. That cup is going to be near empty in extreme cases. And so whenever a jinn does try to come into your life, it's going to fill it to the brim. It's going to fill every gap possible. It is like a liquid. So if you want to prevent jinn attachment, have a strong connection to God. I mean, it's more simple than we make it. If you have that connection with God, nothing can mess with you. So if you do think you're having these situations or these signs of jinn attachment, focus on that first. Look at yourself and look and see, like, am I practicing correctly? Now, I'm going to start from the minor ones and go up to the really extreme cases. The first one is going to be exhaustion. Now, of course, this isn't just because you're tired, it doesn't mean you have a jinn attached to you. But it is one of the things that happens whenever you have an attachment. You will be exhausted, you'll be tired nonstop. There's nothing you can do about it. You can drink endless coffee, you can drink energy drinks if you do that. You can do all these things to try to compensate. You can sleep as much as you want or as little as you want. You can change your diet, and you're just not going to have energy. It is going to be draining you. So that's one of them, but it's something that's very justifiable. You can make excuses for it or blame your exhaustion on something else. Now, the second one I often bring up to people is going to be your stuff will go missing. Quite often, your things will just disappear. And I'm not talking about misplacing something and finding it later. I'm talking it will be gone. This happened to me one time for sure. So my car keys were just gone one day. I came home from work. I had to let myself in the door. I had to have used my keys to unlock the door to let myself in, and I put them on the same spot every single day. The next morning when I went to go to work, my car keys were just gone. They weren't anywhere in this apartment. It was a small 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, and I didn't have much furniture to begin with. There was no couch to lose the keys in even. So I searched everywhere. The 3 pieces of furniture, my bathroom, my kitchen, it didn't exist. Those keys were just gone. Now, a lot of the time, this is another one of those things we can kind of justify it. We can be like, oh, I just lost it. But there's extreme cases where this can't apply. Now, before I keep going, I want all the people to know who are mad in the comments about this tapestry. This is a piece about marriage. This art was created based around whenever God created man and women, and there was a partner for everybody. It is just skeletons holding flowers. There's nothing demonic about this. There's no sigils. There's nothing evil about skeletons holding flowers. And the reason why I say that is there's a lot of false science about jinn attachment. Just because you're scared of something doesn't make it evil. Scary doesn't mean evil. I wish things were that simple. I wish it was that easy to just say, oh, if you feel this emotion, it's bad, but that's just simply not true. But the third one is a little bit scary. So the third one you're going to notice whenever you have jinn attachments is going to be like shadow people. You're going to start seeing things out of the corner of your eyes. A lot of people will chalk this up to schizophrenia, but I don't believe there's that many schizophrenics in the world. I don't think that 80% of society is schizophrenic. Spirit world is kind of weird because we can't directly see them, they can't directly see us, we can't really interact with each other in a way that we may think. But it's almost like frosted glass, where if something walks across frosted glass on one side, it will kind of look like a shadow to us. That is the best way I could describe seeing things like the Jinn or in the paranormal, is like behind frosted glass. Is there's a veil in the way that makes it look shadowy. And this can include things like the Hat Man, sleep paralysis demons, that kind of sorts. There's always going to be some kind of veil. Now, although these moments may be a little freaky, feeling fear is the worst thing you can do, because if you're afraid of them, that's what they want. That's their goal if they're doing that to you. They want you to be scared, they want you to be afraid, and they want to consume that energy to boost themselves. Now, the biggest one. This is the most important sign when it comes to demonic attachments. If you don't recognize yourself in the mirror, that's when things are serious. This is whenever you do have a full attachment. A lot of occultists do scrying methods to create this moment. People work really hard in the occult, and I mean really hard. Now, although I know you guys are going to say that's silly and that's like weird, but there is people out there that try super hard to have that moment where you see your own reflection and it's off. And this does happen. Not a lot, but when it does, it hits hard and you do know what's happening. When you lock eyes with yourself in this reflection and you have no idea what you're looking at, that's when you need to worry. That's when I recommend going seeking help. I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't do exorcisms of any kind, but that's when I would start looking for something and start really looking at your actions and what you've done in your life, because it's not easy for them to do that kind of attachment. That's a very deep, very severe attachment. And really not recognizing yourself in the mirror is the main one I go off of, because that's the time where you know it's serious. And if you know anybody experiencing this, I would recommend talking to them about the situation. I've had this moment happen a few times and I was an idiot and I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. I was like, oh, there is something really attached to me, and you're just staring at yourself in the mirror and you're just questioning everything. That's not cool. It's not fun. That means there's something draining you. It's taking everything from you. You're not gaining anything from that situation. There's nothing to gain from that.